Waliwo akatambi akamazeko ebyewungula Munayuganda engeri gy'abonaabonamu abatwalibwa ku byeyo era engeri gye kya designingibwamu oba gye kyakolebwamu endagaano zino General Museveni n'abantu be nga baagala okusaanyawo bannayuganda abaana bato nga baagala okusaanyawo omugigi omuto Uganda esigale nga terina bantu bazaaliranwa abaawano olwo balyoke baleeta abalaalo baleeta abantu okuva ewanayira mu mawanga amalala babajjuze mu Uganda nga bannayuganda baweddewo. Kino bakikola okulaba nti abaana abato abakyasobola okuzaala batwalibwa ne baggyibwamu ebyabwe eby'omunda baleme kuddamu kuzaala balala battibwe basaanyizibwewo mpola mpola ennamba egende ng'ekendeera mpola buli mwaka batwale buli mwezi batwale bwe batta bwe bakolako ebikolobero Uganda abaana bannansangwa oba abaana bazaaliranwa ba Uganda baggweewo basaanewo olwo nno balyoke batwetere abannamawanga abalala okuva ebweru abalaalo n'abalala babayiwe mu ggwanga Uganda buli kya Uganda kitwalibwe kityo. Kati nno zuukuka sisimuka muve mu kubongoota Kyagulanyi Ssentamu kino kye kyamuleeta okulaba nga aziyiza ensi yaffe okutwalibwa abagwira. So kulaba akatambi kano ogenda kakasa nti ensi yaffe abasajja beesomye okugisaanyaawo.
About Middle East migrant workers, I would like to first of all, I think, highlight what we've done so far. That is, we are a pressure group that has been working very, very hard on the issue of migrant workers. And if you recall, from the time we started engaging, the issue of Middle East was not on the political agenda at all. So we've really been able to wrestle with the authorities who should actually know better and who should be doing better to bring this issue, first of all, center stage. Right now, it is on the political agenda. And that is an achievement, that is a positive thing. Nonetheless, and despite our relentless efforts, we've not really been able to achieve a lot in terms of improving the welfare of the migrant workers. I mean, in terms of, first of all, guaranteeing their rights, and that is very fundamental, but also securing their welfare. That remains a big problem, remains a big challenge. What we've pushed for, first of all, we sent a petition that was to have the petition was to revisit the whole labor externalization policy. That was ignored. It was shelved up to today. We involved a leader of opposition. We involved the different committees. We involved Speaker, that is Anita Among. But again, it was not to their, they did not prioritize it. Instead, what they've been going around doing what they call benchmarking. But the idea of going to benchmarking is really for personal and private interests, having to get a DM allowances and what have you, because there was no need even to go around to benchmark. We have enough people, returnees, who can actually who can answer many of these questions that they might have, as well as speaking to this folk. We have written reports. We've written the petition. We've written the bilateral labor agreement proposal that was to help to help facilitate the bilateral labor agreement at the time of renewal with the government of Saudi Arabia. None of that really was honored. So what I can say, ladies and gentlemen, is that the labor externalization policy has morphed into a human trafficking kind of situation. And as I speak, the situation is just getting worse. So partly because the legal framework that was proposed has not been effective. The so-called recruitment agencies have become mere brokers.
The mafias.
they absolutely have no skills, all the skills mix to manage human resource effectively. So what they do, they just sell you over and that is it. They don't follow up to know how you're doing. They don't do any appraisals to know how you're getting on with your employers, and they don't check on you to know exactly if you're thriving, if you're suffering, if you have grievances, how can they be resolved? None of that is being done. So this becomes a real problem. And right now, as I speak, as Comrade Typing Error attested to, right now we have many cases of people who are sick. We have many cases of people suffering from what is called illegal transfer. But illegal transfer literally is selling somebody. They sell you like a god to somebody. They pass you from one employer to another. What does this mean? This means that the person you've been handed to now can do whatever they want with you. They don't have any legal obligations and legal accountabilities and responsibilities because they've not signed in contracts with you. So we put our people in harm's way, and this is becoming the norm. Now, under these circumstances, how does Betty Among talk of signing more bilateral labor agreements? I saw this in some of the news. They're attending a conference in Baku, and on the sidelines, she's meeting some of these ministers, and she's initiating that discussion. So we are saying they should not sign any new agreements until really they've guaranteed the rights of the migrant workers and their welfare. And right now, their rights, their welfare is precarious. So what we need to do now, ladies and gentlemen, I think is to shift the discussion from policy reform, because we know we are not going to change anything under this regime. It is just it is a wild goose chase, really. It is a futile effort, really, to try to engage this regime, because all they care about are their interests. And we know that all these Amonians and whoever, they are the ones running these recruitment agencies. So for them, they've just become rackets for making money.
Yes.
So the discussion now should shift and move towards regime change. Let's not this is not to in any way to downgrade the importance of migrant laborers. These are our people. We should protect them. But we can stand here and argue for the next 100 years, we are not going to change anything under this regime. So I think our focus now should really be on regime change. That is where we should put our focus, because with regime change, we shall be able to solve many of these many other problems that Uganda is grappling with. Labor externalization being one of them. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes,
so
please.
What sort of advice would you give? Like, let's say there's a 18-year-old, for example, Ruth, and she just got herself a visa. She's gonna go work in Saudi Arabia. What should she do? Is there like steps that you recommend, or numbers that she should have, or things that she should do to make sure that when she goes to Saudi Arabia, we can keep track of her and things like that? What should she do?
Given my 3 years of the work that I've done, given the challenges that I've come across, it is an uphill task. And anybody going to Saudi Arabia, the odds of coming back are stacked up against you. So you are likely, first of all, to become a victim of exploitation, to become a victim of sexual assault, a victim of your money being withheld, a victim of being paid, but your people back home.
Is there like a number or an email that they could have, that they could reach out, or things like that? Because I remember last time when I was in Uganda and I was at the airport, I saw hundreds and hundreds of young people being exported to go abroad, right? And most of these, it was their first time going abroad, right?
Yes.
And I don't know where they're finding them from, but they look like the youngest of the youngest population, right? Should we set up like maybe a guy at the airport who hands out cards to say, if you get into trouble, this is a number you should call? What should we do? What should they do? Yeah.
A smile.
Yeah.
The so-called authorities who should be actually protecting these vulnerable people are the very one kind of glorifying. There have been many adverts. If you listen to our mainstream media, they paint this picture of somebody of rags to riches.
Yes.
Somebody going to the Middle East and their lives suddenly being transformed. This is far from the truth. If we had the statistics, actually there are almost no successes. People who come back, they're broken psychologically, they are broke, they don't have money.
Yes.
Because even as they are there, their extended families are always demanding money, and they're not earning much money. They themselves have in most cases, they've left their children, so they've got to pay for their school fees. So really, there is no win-win situation here. Anybody going to the Middle East will come back a broken person, or even after your first trip, the moment they run back, they're planning for the next one. So financially, materially, economically, you are not going to make a difference.
Don't make the journey.
So actually, the advice is do not get on the plane to go anywhere.
Don't sell your property to go abroad.
99% chances are that chances are 99% that you'll get into some type of trouble and you will need a bailout. Now, yes. How you get a bailout, how you navigate that, again, depends on who you connect with. But we are the Middle East Workforce Crusaders, a pressure group that have been doing a lot of work so they can get our numbers, they can get in touch with Uganda's bleeding. But again, like you said, aptly put it, the sheer volumes of the people going to the Middle East overshadows what we can do. I mean, we are just a small group. So effectively, who do we help? Who don't we help? And do we even have capacity to help everybody? We don't have capacity to help everybody.
We don't have that kind of capacity.
Exactly. And we are doing this just as a secondary kind of project or initiative. We have our main jobs to work. So, you're doing this on the sidelines. And many times you find, your personal space is being invaded. Home, people are calling in throughout the night. So, and again, because, somebody's in trouble, so you have to reach out and help. But effectively, we cannot meet everybody's needs. So really, there has to be a change in the mindset. There has to be awareness. We have to tell the people the brutal truth that where you're going, you're more likely to get into trouble than to get out of trouble.
I sometimes feel like people they're like, you know what I've gone through here, I'd rather go to the Middle East because they believe or they feel like nothing can be as bad as Uganda, right? But it turns out to be, it's actually a million times worse, right? There's a lady, she went to the Middle East and she saved up, I think it was 10 million shillings. And she sent this money
over what period of time? Over
yes.
What period of time?
Yes, yeah, very long time, because usually they won't even pay you. You could work 2-3 months without getting paid. And those who do get, if you do get your salary and then you send it home, your money could get siphoned off by your relatives. If it's not that, it's even the banks. Sometimes they keep the money in the bank, right? And then the bank themselves, the people that work inside the bank, they will steal that money. There's also cases of where you would send money to build houses or build whatever you want to build, and then your own relatives, they end up betraying you, right? So you sell your property or your land to go abroad and then to come back and then to send money back to try to build a house of something that you've already sold. It does not really make any business sense whatsoever. Is there anything that we could do?
Let's just take this case study of the lady who made 10 million. So my question is now, like, we put everything in context. Yeah. So over what period of time did she make the 10 million?
How much did she even put in to actually?
Exactly.
It's usually the same amount.
Exactly. So we are looking at the cost effect
effectiveness.
Exactly. Yeah. So first of all, over what period of time? So what are the costs? If she had a family, her family probably broke up. She left a man, maybe the man went on and married. She left her children, probably under custody of some relatives. Did they study? Did they make it? How much of the mother's love did they miss? All these things. When you make a costing of all these things, was it worth it? She might have made the 10 million over maybe 6 months, 6 years period of time. So you look at the costs, you look at the gains. Was it worth it? You look at it, and when she computes all that, was it worth it? She has lost a family, the children didn't study, or they didn't study as well as they should have. So you've come back with 10 million over a period of 5 years, 6 years. So you have 10 million, but what have you lost? Yes. So you do the calculations, and you really ask if it was worth it. But again, yes. Yeah.
Many of them don't come back. But for those of you who are lucky enough yes, to be paid for the work that you have put in, please don't just make money. I want you to also to pay attention to what is going on, exactly, see the knowledge, how everything is run, how everything is built, and soak that in, right? Because that knowledge could be useful later on in your life, right? When you come back to Uganda, you could say, okay, they do things like this. This is how we should build things like that. We've got Comrade Proskovia. You've got your hand up. Please, Comrade Proskovia, please unmute and speak to us. Thank you very much, Comrade Joe. We'll get back to you before the time ends. Comrade Proskovia, the mic is yours. Okay, Comrade Tumisime, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for that opportunity. I don't know if I've heard, but you will excuse me of the music in the background. Hello?
Yes, hi, we can hear you. After that, we're gonna go back to Comrade Proskovia. Go ahead, Comrade Tumisime.
Yeah, I came up here to answer your question because I'm in the Middle East.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia. So you asked if we can get an email or a number where we can send something in case we are in trouble. The bitter truth, people don't know about Middle East. Even if you have that number, even if you don't have that number, they are all the same. Because if, like now, I have a phone, I can access anything. But in case I get some misunderstandings with my employer, I will not be allowed to use that phone. They will confiscate it, or if they don't confiscate it, like they remove it from me, they will turn off their Wi-Fi. And when they connect you to that Wi-Fi, you don't know the password. So if they disconnect you, you will not have access to internet. You don't have the way to go out to buy data to connect with the outside world. So even if we don't have that number, even if we have it, they are all the same. The only solution we have now, because I came this side not knowing what I'm coming to do, because I was excited. I had finished school, my parents were paying much, and I was getting less pay as I expected, that because I started nursing. So when I heard about the chance to go to the Middle East, because they told me they were taking me as a nurse, I was like, let me go there. And they were like, they will be paying you 900, because in Uganda I was getting over this 150, something like actually. That's the monthly pay I was getting after school. So when I had 900, I was like, that is the nice pay if I'm going to work as a nurse. When I reached this side, things turned up. I find out that I came to work as a household. When I asked them, they said you can work as a household at the same time you work as a nurse because she was an old woman. Like I would give her drugs, check her pressure, something like that. But that means I'm doing two jobs, which I didn't say. But if you complain, they will say, if you want to go back to Uganda, you pay our money. Right? Things are messed up this side. The only solution we have to do is change the government. Because other nations, like other races,
Yes.
Filipinos, Ethiopians, Bangladeshis, they have good working conditions. If I'm working with a Filipino in the same house, she's more privileged than me. And if you ask about that, they will tell you, for you don't have a government. So even if we talk and talk, when Museveni is still in Uganda, we can't change anything in the Middle East. That is a big lie if someone can tell you that we can change anything. Because these people, they work with government. They don't work with individuals. So we are here. We will try to be strong when we go back to Uganda. That's good. When we die from here, they will bury us. We will act as sacrifices. But those who are still in Uganda and you feel like Middle East is the option to come inside, my dear, think twice. Because Middle East is more health than Uganda. So if you're still in Uganda and you're thinking of coming this side, think twice before you make that decision. Because for us right here now, we are regretting our decision. But you can't change anything. So that's the bitter truth. And about documents, it's not like some have them and some don't have them. All of us, if we reach this site, it's a must. They take away your passport, and when we reach this site, they do for us IDs. We got the IDs for this site, like in Saudi, it's called Inkama. But even that ID, they can't give it to you. They also take it away. So we are like prisoners. That's the bitter truth. But we have to admit because we are already here. So me, the message I have for my fellow girls and boys in the Middle East, let's fight hard and we remove the dictator.
Thank you very much, Comrade Tumisime. So
Yes.
essentially what she's describing in her audio is a modern day slavery. So she's saying that when people get there, their passports are confiscated, which is something which is not allowed. Comrade Joe, are they allowed to confiscate somebody's travel documents?
According to international labor laws, they should not. But now we're dealing in a kafala system. The kafala system basically gives so much power to the employer, so much that literally he owns you and he does whatever he wants with, you know.
That should be illegal, isn't it?
And the Ugandan government has signed up to that. So these are some of the issues. How do you reform that, you know? And we're just saying these are diametrically opposed to any principles of human decency and rights and freedoms. Yes.
Honestly, in a new government, those sort of countries, I don't even see why should we have that kind of relationship where honestly we should just send them packing, they close their consulate and they leave our country. Comrade Proskovia, please unmute and speak to us. Thank you very much. Comrade Proskovia, the mic is yours.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are listening and watching in from. I'm Proskovia. I may have missed most of the presentation. You know, I'm busy on a Saturdays. At least Miss Docas and Mr. Mugeni know what on a Saturday I do. Saturday morning, the first session of Uganda's bleeding. So I have I don't know, let me start with this. We have what is going on in Uganda's human rights and having some members of parliament pulling out of parliament, which is the best thing to do, because if they had done this before, would maybe have some differences and some changes that we'll be experiencing right now. But now we have a lady who says the members of parliament are wasting taxpayers' money. Who's the taxpayer? It's you and me. The taxpayer is that person whose father, whose mother, whose sister, whose child, whose daughter is in prison or has gone missing for over 3 years, has not been in their homes for close to 2 years. That is the taxpayer. So when these people move out, they're actually serving the taxpayer. So you who is seated in that office claiming, you're supposed to listen to the people, not to what Anita Mong is saying. What is in that parliament? What are they going to do in that parliament? To pass a bill that is going to affect most Ugandans or most of all Ugandans, or to amend a constitution that is going to suffocate the human rights of every Ugandan. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening in here, both on Zoom and Facebook, let's think. Someone is going to say, what is their role as member of parliament? The role comes in when the country is at peace, because that's when they can sit in that parliament, in that August house, and pass laws that benefit the citizens, but not laws that benefit a particular individual, and that is Museveni and his family. So I call upon you citizens. I've seen the municipality leader or MP of Busia claiming as the MPs are serving the interest of a particular individual, because this individual, his children or his sons or whoever is not in prison, but that individual is fighting for the rights of all Ugandans who are being suffocated, whose children have been in prison for years. We have Olivia Lutai as a lady who's in prison for close to 2 years. So is that serving a particular individual's interest or serving Ugandan interest? We can't say, this is where we have gone wrong, because we don't care about the minority. We care about the majority. It is very sad that an American will put at least things on hold until one person is rescued from a particular destination that is at risk. Why do you think they give out warnings to say, if you are going such and such a country, we advise our citizens not to go to? Do you think the whole country is going there? But there might be only 2 or 1 person is going. That means that person is important, equally important to the rest of Americans or the rest of Ugandans. We kept quiet when they started arresting one individual, and we didn't care, and we thought, yeah, it will, of course, after all, I'm safe. We didn't know that it was coming at our doorsteps, because I'm sure most parents kept on saying, ebyo mugenda mu byaki, mubireke. Vicky, those are for politicians. I'm sure most of the parents in Uganda, even us this side, before we knew where we are heading to, we didn't care. When they were arresting one person, we kept on taking videos and chanting. That's what we were doing. We didn't know that it is going to affect us at a certain time T. The members of parliament, before, they thought it was just they will get out, or we are here, not only that, no, we are here. If they had acted before, do you think we would be having this now? Do you think we would be not knowing if Chibarama was buried or Chibarama is still there? We would have known, but because we cared less. When they were changing the constitution, they said, after all the term limits, we didn't care. Until it came to the age limits, we didn't care. It started in our eyesight when we are watching. Countrymen and women, these things happened under our watch, but we cared less. It is now time to reap what we sowed. Members of parliament, stick to your words. Stick to your words, because it doesn't make sense for you to go to that August house to pass a bill that Museveni or members of parliament should be voting for the president. You are encroaching on my right as a citizen.
Thank you, Comrade Proscovia. As we're coming to a close, I would like to add on to what you're saying. There's also a poem by a Nigerian poet. His name is Niyi. It's called Not My Business. That goes, what business of mine is it, as long as they don't take the yam from a savoring mouth. I would like you guys to check out that poem one day, because a lot of people are saying they don't care as long as, you know, they're not affected by it, but we are all affected at the end of the day. Comrade Dorcas, how long do we have? I've still got 3 hands raised. We have Comrade James and Comrade Godfrey.
Okay, Comrade, let's take the hands and then we'll close after that. Thank you.
Okay.
Proscovia wanted to finish in a minute.
Sorry, Comrade Proscovia, go ahead. Comrade Proscovia. Okay. I'll now pass the mic on to Comrade Godfrey, and then we do Comrade James, and then at the end we'll get Comrade Joe as we're closing.
Yeah, thanks very much, Ismail. I had a couple of points to make. Most of these agencies recruiting for the Middle East advertise on Ugandan radios, which we have complained before.
Yes.
And most of these radios belong to what you'd call reputable entities, such as the Buganda Kingdom, you got the Muslim or Islamic radios, and you got prominent businessmen who you do think they care about human rights. So this is what we should try and attack, because it's unethical to be preaching human rights and yet you accept blood money for these people advertising. And the second point I have is, I think, if I haven't forgotten very well, this month in the UK is triggered, what do they call it? I forgot the actual name we call it, but it starts with Guy Fawkes.
Yes,
who
he
had
tried to blow up the parliament or something like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, for things to change for the common people in England, Guy Fawkes had to take action. Yeah?
Yes.
Now, on this platform, we don't, quote unquote, advocate some kind of violence. Yeah? But when your hand is under the back, you go take action. Yeah, and the action is on the ground. These MPs are pampered, and they are paid a lot of money. And those who care should use their funds to fight for ordinary people. And the cause of the Middle East should be on top of the agenda, inclusive of our incarcerated and foreign comrades at home. Then we tell them, you've stood up and been counted, we give you our support. And this is the point we should emphasize. There's no ways about it. The payments they get are a kind of bribe. And whereas some of them cry crocodile tears, they are not there to serve the interests of the ordinary person.
They're not.
And our people should remember that. Thank you very much.
Yes, Comrade Godfrey, yes, on the issue of our struggle, yes, we've already said it's non-violent. The government, they've taken this as our weakness. Please do not take it as a sign of weakness for us not choosing to take the violent route. If we did, we would have been more than it would have been more than justified after 40 years of illegal killing, illegal detention. Nobody would actually blame us, but we decided not to make the struggle. We decided to make the struggle non-violent. I will now pass the mic on to Comrade James. Comrade James, please speak. Please unmute and speak to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Ismail. I think you will allow me to use even Proscovia's time that you had given her, because I might take about 5 minutes. So I'll take her time and my time. Ismail, it's painful that we're talking about immigration, because I have purposely dressed like this to talk as an immigrant in the United States. And last week, I think in the middle of the week, I took time to interview my friend called Tumusime. She's Grace in the Middle East, and I was asking her, Grace, I want to ask you very personal questions, and I will use them when we're on space. So I'm speaking as an immigrant in the United States, and this week, I had an opportunity to go and speak to my house rep, and I presented to him the situation of immigrants, or we immigrants from Uganda, and then the situation of people like the Grace in the Middle East. And my house rep cried. He cried. He even said, but James, where do you people get even the courage to be in the United States or to talk to us? People like you. And he visited my house. He visited me in the house and said, James, I'm so touched. I think we need to put you somewhere. You have a lot that goes on in your mind, but you are still able to serve America. Now I'm putting on this t-shirt and a cap. It's talking about the truth, and it's a presidential candidate who made me follow him after listening to the 8 presidential candidates who are put before us for debate. And this is a son of an immigrant. He's 38 years. He's the youngest. And he was speaking against his own party card holder. Vivek was speaking against Trump, and he said, Trump is one of the best candidates for my party, but he's a lame duck. I am young. I am going to do what Trump failed to do. Now at 80 years, what is he going to do for America? That is somebody speaking about his own party, and he's a son of an immigrant. So for me, I'm trying to give you this so that you get the picture, because this is the very thing I presented in the house here. I told them, you people, some of us say, God bless America, because when we arrived here, it's like we have come to heaven. We have been praying to go to heaven. But so if I can come to this house to speak to you as an immigrant, and this is what I was asking Dorcas. Dorcas, what is your life in the Middle East? I went in deep. I said, Dorcas, can you have a man? Can you have children? She told me, Doctor, no. And so whoever has gone to the Middle East, the social life ends. The United States takes immigrants through the green card. They come here. It's like the Middle East. But a person who gets a green card to come here has a life to lead. He can bring in his family. He can go to school. You guys, you have seen my wall. Most of the time, I'm now in school. I'm in school, but working. So for me, if you're talking about even immigration for work anywhere, what I have gone through in the United States is tough. First of all, they get your whole education and dump it away. And they tell you you need English, ICT, and driving. These are the skills the United States requires from you. And they even give you, they give you what they call a credit card. I'm now somebody who owns a credit card. This card is just making you to spend money that you don't have and start working. But for them, the conditions are fair. They're human. Some of us say the United Nations, the conditions are human. By the way, you can come to the United States, but you can't go out. They lock you up with this. They lock you up with work. They lock you up with anything. They'll give you the best car to dream, to drive, but you're paying for that car for 30 years. And if you think about going to Uganda, you have a car that you have not finished paying. You have a house that is on your head. So for me, immigration is hostile to anyone, but there are places where you can immigrate to either UK, USA, or South Africa. And yet you people know how painful it is. So for me, like I have said, there are places where you can migrate to and become visible. I'm now supporting, I just said I'll support this young man. One, he represents the young people. He's a blood. When he says I'm 38 years and I'm the youngest amongst the candidates, at the same time, I am going to do what our best candidate failed to do. He's a lame duck. When you hear such things, can you say such things in Uganda against a presidential candidate and you're not killed? And can I even say I'm putting on his t-shirts now and I'm not arrested by, if it was in Uganda because you're supporting Bobby Wine? It's painful. But as I said, immigration is not for the ordinary. And for me, as a medic, this is what I am telling those who are going to the Middle East: sign your will. And like I have said it, in fact, me and Joe, we almost cut wires this week. I was asking Joe, now they are going to sign agreements. You're going to come to bother us. And Joe asked me, James, what do you want us to do? I told him, let's discuss this on this. Because if you are going there, you are going at your own risk. Sign your will and leave it behind. Because we're also getting tired to fight for people who don't. I say you don't care about yourself. Because by the time you go to a place where you are locked and everything about you, your culture, your inheritance is locked, you lose your social structure. You will not produce children. You will not, why would you like to go under? Is Uganda as bad as that for you? I don't think so. In Uganda, right now we are dying of teenage pregnancies. Yesterday I was seeing this woman crying even. I said, you people, stop those crocodile tears. HIV is simply failure. You have destroyed our social systems. So just bear, stop crying before us. So these things are painful. And I was picking it from Proscovia. You see that pain where somebody discusses with the pain. I listen to Grace, she calls herself Tumusime. People are discussing with tears in their eyes. I would rather tear at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. James, for your submission. Thank you. Comrades, reminder, I hope you've been able to send the tweets out because we are drawing to a close. Thank you so much for your submission. I hope we don't have hands left. Okay, Ismail, your mic is going. Thank you so much. Please, Ismail, would like to hear from you, and also maybe before we close, Joe, if you could help let people know that we actually have had some successes, and we do have, for the sake of Syria, it's just of recent that we've been taking a few cases from there. So I think comrade typing error, you said 5 cases. We've so far had 5 cases from Syria, and we do have a few successes altogether. We normally deal with Saudi Arabia, and we've got over 100 girls that have been able to go. You know, some we found some in detention, some were either had come to the end of their contracts and they are being denied to go back home, but due to the pressure that the team, of course, put on these rogue employers. I call them, rogue because they're dangerous. We cannot really call them employers as such, because nobody should subject another to torture like that. Yeah, so we've had several cases go home, and would like to invite you, if you're a lawyer or if you're able to even speak. Of course, we all can. If you're able to do, please join the team, and we'll let you know on how you can help us. Yes, Comrade Joe, please give us an update of how many so far. I think I have even lost count. How many so far have been freed in closing? And then, yeah, we should be closing in a few minutes.
Thank you, Comrade Dorcas. Yes, we've been working now for close to 3 years, and we've freed over 200 ladies. But still, this is just a dip in the ocean, considering the volumes of people that are still, flying into the Middle East. It is such a big influx that even what we are doing just pales into insignificance. The way forward, ladies and gentlemen, is really, I think we know we cannot change that. The very push and pull from home in terms of job opportunities remains very strong, and more people will just be coming. So the prospects of us reforming the labor externalization policies remains very poor. way forward is to remove the dictator, and that is where we should be moving. And I really think that I call upon I call upon everybody gathered here, leadership, elected members, civil society, religious leaders, students. Let's focus, let's re-energize. Why is there a lull? From the last time we had a mobilization in Luero, there is a lull, and there's no justification. Museveni continues to gain more ground, and actually we are losing more ground. As Museveni passes out LDUs, last time it was 5,000. He passed out police constables, 2,300, and he continues to do that. Whilst what is our plan? We must put pressure really on everybody, the leadership in particular. We had the momentum, we have the numbers, and we had even achieved the unity to remove the dictator by end of this year. But now there's just a lot of noise and a lot of distractions. I really think we must regroup, re-strategize, and get focused. Why? Actually, we're just letting Museveni get away with murder every day. And we know the situation just gets worse. We have our brothers and sisters incarcerated. The conditions are getting worse. People still being court-martialed. Whilst criminals are being tried in civilian courts. And we are allowing this to happen. Really, I say we are allowing it because we're allowing it. We're allowing it because we have the power to wake up tomorrow and chase away the dictator. So I think let's do what is necessary to remove the dictator as soon as possible. I think let's turn away from all these distractions and the noises, unnecessary noises that detract us from our main mission of removing the dictator. Even the Middle East really right now is just one of the many problems. So working on it alone will not remove the dictator. So I think our focus now should be on regime change, not police change, in the Middle East, but regime change of Museveni and his cohorts. Over to you, Comrade Dorcas. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Comrade, and of course for all you continue to do on the Middle East and other areas. We applaud you. And by the way, those that are do not know, Comrade Joe is the leader of the chapter NUP Swedish chapter, and we will share more information on that in the coming week. So close, of course, let's hear from you, your closing remarks, and then we close. Thank you. Brother Ismail, you're muted.
Yes, for me, what we discussed about our brothers and sisters in the Middle East, one thing I would like is for you guys to share the names, especially those who are passed away. Please share those names so that we can amplify it. And also we will do a demonstration outside the UAE embassy. This is something I would really like to go do, to take these names to them. And also, if we could keep track, if it's possible to keep track of those who have left, if that was possible, if there is any way we could get the names of those who have left the country, and then we have maybe a database for them on the spreadsheet, because we have a spreadsheet of political prisoners, death by government, but also maybe we could create another spreadsheet of those who are in the Middle East and try to keep track of where they are and what they're up to, and also to make sure that those that do go return in one piece, every man and woman accounted for. I don't have anything else to add, but apart from thank you very much for joining us today. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Comrade, for that. Yes, we could. Just before we close, I wanted to read one of the names of the comrades that were recently abducted or arrested. Let's see. I hope you're all on Twitter. We've been amplifying tweets, and the reason why we were sharing the demonstration clips today is because we didn't have enough time the last week to share and amplify. So this is the Twitter. We've amplified the UK protest, the USA, comrades in the USA, the Netherlands, Germany. We had people in Munich. And of course, we had people on ground in Uganda. But the USA actually talked on ECOP. So here we're saying the USA stands united in a demonstration against the ECOP Total Energies project, of course, causing the displacement of thousands of Ugandans from their land. Comrades, you need to go and amplify sound on this ECOP, because we know that Mr. Museveni, of course, is just doing business for himself and his family, not for Ugandans. They've displaced Ugandans, and we must be concerned. They've actually illegally detained people, murdered some for their land, you know. So let's not be silent. And talk of ECOP, comrades in Uganda, I'm told, that that some students took action and they were brutally arrested. So this particular tweet is saying Ugandans protesting against ECOP face brutal arrests, and that is an actual fact, because this has always happened. The students take action, they get brutally arrested. So we are demanding for their immediate release and direct tweet to Kaguta Museveni, that's the dictator, ladies and gentlemen, telling him to stop the injustice. Okay, so the students that we want you to amplify their plight is Sekandi Eric, Wafula Simon, Kabuza John, Sanya Ivan, Kayanja Ashraf, Nuagaba Oscar, Debo Sin Tevin. So thank you so much, comrades. Please go to the platform is Uganda is Bleeding, but the handle is at Stand Up Uganda, because we do not stop at morning, but rather say Stand Up Uganda, speak, let's take action. Yes, we've come to the end of this Zoom. I don't know, Comrade Joy, if you're closing us up, please, let's close and end the Zoom. Thank you.
Those wakambuulidde bulungi olukwe lwa General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni okulaba nga asaanyawo ate bannayuganda abatalina buzibu, bannayuganda abaana abazaaliranwa abasaanyaabo nga basindika ku Kyeyo Ewalabu. Yakikola nga akimanyi intentionally, n'ebikolwa bye bakolwako byonna biri mu ddiru zaabwe ze bakola okulaba nga abaana bano batusibwako obulabe, abaana bano battibwa, bagibwamu organize zaabwe, bafuulibwa bazonto mu ngeri ez'enjawulo okusobola okulaba nti bannayuganda omusaayi omuto guggwawo. Kino ekintu abangi bakyakiraba ng'ekyokusaaga, naye ensi amawanga bannansi batwe baggwawo. Oba buli lwatwala n'akomyawo nga bazolise, namba esinga ng'ezolise, n'okumawo babiri be balamu, basatu be balamu, bana be balamu, meaning bali bamufiiriddwa, tebagenda kuzaala oba tebagenda kuba na ba mugaso mu ggwanga, ne bakomawo bangi nga bafudde, era meaning waliwo namba egenda ekendeera. Tunaayonda okutuuka emyaka ogenda nga gyetooloola ng'abantu bannayuganda tebakyawera, ng'abagwira abalaalo be babawambye eggwanga lyaffe, basazeeko eggwanga lyaffe. So tulina okusituka ng'obudde bukyali, tulina okusituka nga amaanyi gakyalimu, nga tukyalina obudde, nga tebunatuyitako nnyo, tusobole okwegobako General Kaguta Museveni, eggwanga lyaffe lisobole okutereera. Kale kino tulina okikola nga ffenna tussa kimu, nga tusalawo kimu nti ekimala kimala, nti ekijja kijje, naye tulina okutereeza eggwanga lyaffe nga twekyanga, twekyawa, tumenka, twekalakaasa, General Museveni ajja kgenda. Mbagala nnyo Dunda nsaba bankuumire tujja kuba tuddamu twogera ebigambo mwera.